What does it take to reach the pinnacle of fame, only to walk away from it all when the world is watching? What makes someone like Linda Ronstadt, with one of the most powerful voices in music history, decide to step back from the limelight after achieving it all? We know her as the queen of 70s and 80s rock, pop, country, and even operatic ballads. But why did she leave the stage when she was at the height of her career? And what has she been up to since? Was it fame's heavy weight, personal health battles, or a deeper calling? Stick around as we dive into the fascinating journey of Linda Ronstadt's career, struggles, and ultimate decision to walk away from it all. This is a story of strength, vulnerability, and the quiet power of choosing your own path. Linda Ronstadt, the voice that changed music. Let's take it back to the early days. Born in 1946 in Tucson, Arizona, Linda Maria Ronstadt grew up surrounded by music. Her family loved the arts, and her father was a skilled singer. But it wasn't until she started performing in local coffee houses and small venues in the 1960s that her raw talent began to shine. Linda's early performances were marked by her unmatched vocal abilities and a fearlessness in blending different genres like rock, country, pop, and even folk into a style that was uniquely her own. In an era where women in music were often pigeonholed into specific roles, Linda broke free of those constraints. Her first big break came with the band The Stone Poneys, but it wasn't until her solo career truly launched that Linda began to take over the music world. Her 1970 album Silk Purse featured one of her most recognizable songs, Long, Long Time, and it was the beginning of her ascent to stardom. Soon she was dominating the charts with hits like Different Drum, You're No Good, and When Will I Be Loved. But it wasn't just her hits that made her legendary. Linda's voice was unlike anything anyone had ever heard before, soaring, raw, and emotionally powerful. Her versatility was the key to her success. She didn't want to be confined to one genre, and that became apparent with albums like Heart Like a Wheel, which featured the iconic Blue Bayou. At her peak, Linda could blend country with rock, and her sound was constantly evolving. She didn't just stay in one lane, she was a genre-defying artist in every sense of the word. This range helped her achieve massive crossover appeal and set her apart as one of the most unique talents in the industry. But here's the kicker. Why would someone with a voice that could melt hearts, a career that was on fire, and a legacy that was solidifying itself choose to walk away? Did Linda Ronstadt's personal life, her health, or something deeper lead her to take a step back? This is where her story took an unexpected turn. The cost of fame, pressures, and frustrations. Linda Ronstadt's rise to stardom didn't come without its challenges. While fame opened doors, it also brought a host of pressures. For someone as private as Linda, being constantly in the public eye was exhausting. The pressure to perform at an incredibly high level was relentless, and the expectations from her fans, the media, and even the music industry started to weigh heavily on her. She had become a household name, but with that fame came an uncomfortable loss of personal privacy. The constant demand for new music and the grueling tour schedules took a toll on Linda's mental health. She was on the road for months at a time, and even when she wasn't, the scrutiny was ever present. Music wasn't just something she loved, it was a business. For someone who had always fought for artistic integrity, it became clear that the demands of the industry often conflicted with her own desires for creative freedom. Linda started to feel the disconnect. Fame was no longer as fun as it once had been. Instead of feeling liberated by her success, she felt trapped. And then there was the realization that she didn't need fame to validate her worth. She wasn't just another artist, she was a force of nature, but she was also a woman who deserved peace, privacy, and happiness. So after a while, Linda began to reassess her relationship with her career. The turning point, a personal battle. Fast forward to 2013, when Linda's world took an unexpected turn. She was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, a neurological disorder that affects movement. While she had always been a fierce advocate for her career and for herself, this diagnosis was a wake-up call. It wasn't just about her health, it was about her voice, the very thing that had defined her entire career. Parkinson's disease can affect speech and motor functions, and for Linda, it was devastating. Her singing voice, which had been her greatest asset, was now at risk. It was a cruel twist of fate for someone who had spent her life perfecting her vocal delivery. The idea of never being able to perform again was heart-wrenching, but instead of sinking into despair, Linda made a conscious decision to step away from the stage. It wasn't easy. Music had been her life, but her health had to come first. At the same time, Linda didn't want to be defined by her disease. She didn't want her story to end with what could have been, so she shifted her focus. She turned to writing, family, and advocacy, continuing to raise awareness for Parkinson's, while also working on projects that allowed her to engage with her fans in different ways. But what happens when the voice that made a generation of fans fall in love with music can no longer sing? How did Linda Ronstadt, with one of the most iconic voices in history, move forward and create a new life after music? A new chapter. Legacy beyond the stage. After stepping away from the limelight, Linda Ronstadt made the most of her life in new and unexpected ways. Her memoir, Simple Dreams, a musical memoir, was released in 2013, giving her fans a rare, behind-the-scenes look at her career. The memoir was a celebration of her life, not just her music, but also the people, moments, and lessons that had shaped her along the way. In addition to writing, Linda continued to be an advocate for causes close to her heart. She used her platform to raise awareness about Parkinson's disease, sharing her story and helping to break the stigma around the illness. She also became an advocate for Mexican-American culture, emphasizing the importance of embracing one's heritage and roots. Linda's commitment to authenticity and living truthfully remained strong, even as she transitioned away from performing. But perhaps one of the most important moments in Linda's post-music life came in the form of the 2019 documentary, Linda Ronstadt, The Sound of My Voice. The documentary not only highlighted her incredible career, but also gave fans a glimpse into Linda's more private side, her struggles, her triumphs, and her life beyond the music. This film gave her fans a chance to reconnect with Linda, not just as a music legend, but as a woman who had shaped the cultural landscape of the 70s and 80s. And through it all, Linda maintained her grace, strength, and unapologetic authenticity. Her legacy, it seemed, was never in danger of fading away. Even without touring or performing, her influence continued to be felt, and her story lived on in every song she had sung and every life she had touched. So, what's the real lesson behind Linda Ronstadt's decision to walk away? It's not just about health or fame, it's about the power of choosing your own path and creating a life on your own terms. It's about saying no when the world wants you to say yes, and in her case, it's about living authentically, no matter the circumstances. What do you think? Do you admire Linda Ronstadt's decision to step away from the limelight? Do you think she made the right choice? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another incredible story. Stay tuned for more such deep dives into your favorite artist's life. See you in the next video.